Okay, first off, I want to apologize for how the last video looked. I know no one commented on it, at least by the time of writing this script, but the last video was not up to my usual standard. The YouTube bots were trying their damnedest to block that video from coming out at all, and I spent all night uploading and re-uploading a version they would allow. I would have been happy if they just took my monetization, as long as the video was allowed to come out and let you all watch it. But they were flat out blocking the whole video's release, and they weren't telling me what section of the content they were objecting to, so I just had to ugly up the whole video to get it out the door. I'm still going to continue on with that series, and hopefully next time it won't have to be so hideous. Anyways, Hotrod. Deluxe? Deluxe. No. Deluxe Voyager. Yeah, no, this Voyager is smaller than a Deluxe from just a couple years ago. What does Voyager even mean anymore? I hesitate to say they pad out the value because it doesn't actually do that by including more than average accessories. He comes with an Autobot matrix there is no way for him to store, 3 different blast effects, a rifle, as we all know, Hotrod is famous for using a rifle. Oh wait! And a gun on a unicycle. You tell me that I'm wrong! Okay, yes, this is actually his cutter from the movie. I really wish they had made it look like the actual one from the movie and not the interpretation of what it looks like in motion, because in motion, it would just look like it already does. What's the point of this thing being able to spin when it already looks like it's spinning? Since I got this figure, literally all of these accessories went in a drawer and haven't come out. All this crap is not worth an extra 15 bucks, but does the figure merit that on its own? Is this the micro masterpiece people are trying to claim that it is? Well, let's start with the look. This is easily the most accurate looking mainline Hotrod by miles and miles. I've heard some people whine that his belt isn't quite right or that his back spoiler isn't perfectly screen accurate, but that's what that is, whining. Demanding one-to-one perfect translation of an animation model that wasn't consistent in the first place was never going to happen, and demanding it to be happy is impossible and insane. This is incredibly close. Not to say that it's anywhere near flawless, though. The design suffers from an extraordinary lack of neck. His head is between his shoulder blades, and it looks really awkward. Another problem this has in the appearance area is the face. I mean, that's just not a very Hotrod expression at all. It just doesn't fit, and it's kind of boring. I need a smile here, a smug smirk, anything, but we aren't getting it. If you ask me, the helmet is a little bulky, but it's nothing too distracting, and all that is not anywhere near enough to make this anything less than the most screen-accurate Hotrod Chug has ever produced by far. The sculpt on this is also really dynamic. Put the arms anywhere and they will probably look cool. To a point. Yeah, this is a big issue as I see it. The way the shoulders are mounted not only looks awkward, but they behave awkward too. They are just in a weird place and they fight you every step of the way if you try to use them for anything. Cool little feature this figure has is straight off the Masterpiece, where you can pop open his helmet and flip down the visor he has from the film. You can also flip out his right fist for his dentist mouth sucker thing, and spin his left hand around for his left a piece of myself back in the war mode. All joking aside, this is for a spinning blade accessory. Weirdly enough, this is not actually a 5mm peg, so you can't steal Flywheel's gun and give Hotrod the largest punch dildo of all time, no matter how much you may want to. He's got opening hands and these cool leg flaps that suck into his hips so they automatically get out of the way when posing him. This is what I think they were going for, but failed to achieve with the Earthrise Optimus Prime's hips that make his legs look 6 miles long. Biggest problem I have with this mode is the backpack. It's nice and slim, but it comes unpegged with no effort. In fact, I wouldn't even say that. I'd say it never plugs in the first place. Actually, scratch that. I just discovered that if you push on it distressingly hard, it will in fact lock into place super tight, so problem rescinded. But, new problem discovered, it is scary to do. Now the leg flaps don't peg in ever, and that's really annoying, but not actually a big deal. Posability on this figure is pretty good, but as I already stated, the shoulders are weirdly uncooperative, and the legs basically have no backward movement. I feel like if they beveled this edge or something, we could have gotten at least a little more out of it. Knees are also really strange. They are double jointed, but it doesn't really get you anything more than normal if you use them. Quick question, why is his butt gray? I asked the hard-hitting questions here. Honestly, from the back, this figure is a little flabby. Anyways, it's just above the average War for Cybertron figure in the posability department. Transformation on this is easily the best the Studio Series has ever had to offer, at least as far as I have experienced it. Honestly enough though, that still means the process is a little bit fiddly, and the force required to do some of this coupled with the thinness of the plastic makes me worried about breakages. How the back tabs into the legs is frustrating, but I've seen worse. And unfortunately, this is where the figure makes its biggest sin. It's a faux former, ladies and gentlemen. Well, actually, if my stats are to be believed, exclusively gentlemen. And the thing is, I don't really see why. The chest is incredibly complex. The whole thing explodes out of him on like 3 different swivels and hinges. I feel like it would have been less complicated to just have the chest fold in so it was the correct shape, rather than hide the correct shape inside of one mode so it can come out in another. The final result is very good, once again crushing its chug competition, looking the most like Hotrod you will ever find this side of an official Masterpiece. But there are a few faults. For starters, the front end isn't entirely convincing, and no matter what I do, I can't stop the silver from peeking out from behind the headlights. Then there's the fact that I'm not sure why they used a yellow hinge for the roof. Seriously, why? What possessed you to cast that in a different color plastic than the red it's supposed to be on the rest of the figure? Weirdly enough, almost none of the joints on this red figure are made of the red plastic, so it makes me wonder if there is a durability problem with the red stuff. Anyways, the last visual problem is the knees are jutting out of the back of the alt mode. Ultimately though, I'd say all those problems are very minor complaints. This is kicking the crap out of its competition. This is a very good figure. Excellent, in fact. And it's going to require me to make an update to a few videos. A few What's the Bests. Let's start with my What's the Best Studio Series. Correction to that video, I have the Studio Series Bumblebee Optimus Prime, and quite frankly, I forgot that I had it. That would have taken first place. I have no excuse other than I'm stupid. But this is now taking first place for the Studio Series. I know that's going to rustle some jimmies, what with people not wanting to call this a Studio Series figure at all, but this is my show and my rules, and I say this is the best Studio Series figure that I own. And that's probably going to switch around a bunch as this line continues to come out. Next up is what's the best Hot Rod, and we are going to do this one a little different. Fourth place is Power of the Prime's Rodimus Prime. Are you surprised? Third place is the Titan's Return Hot Rod. One of the criteria that I never mentioned but is a big part of these rankings is accuracy to the classic interpretation of the character, because we could argue best interpretation until we are blue in the face, but classic is not up for debate. This is not that. Second place is Studio Series 86 Hot Rod. Look, I'm sorry, but this is not the Micro Masterpiece people are calling it. But I will say, we are getting awfully close to that point. You are not that wrong when you say it. Really, what's holding me back from calling this a masterpiece is, the shoulders are wonky, the neck is too short, the face isn't Hot Rod enough, but if they included swappable faces like a normal masterpiece, rather than most of this useless crap it comes with, I might just change my tune entirely. He's a little too unkempt from behind in both modes, and the faux forming. It just wasn't vital to achieve the design. It's not the worst case out there, but it's just slightly bothersome. Though, you know, Masterpiece in general is kind of going crazy with faux forming, so I don't know if the last problem is really valid when determining if this is similar enough to Masterpiece. This is a damn good figure. Is it worth 30 bucks? I don't know. I'm definitely not as mad about it as I normally think I would be. In fact, I'm decently okay with it. For a deluxe, this is pretty damn good. There are deluxes out there I like more. See Trigger Happy. And I don't even think that this is the smartest engineering of a deluxe. Again, see Trigger Happy. It's still really damn impressive for what it is. Not masterpiece impressive, but impressive. And that's not half of what I have to say, but it's enough of what I have to say. And if you enjoyed the video, please like, comment, and subscribe. And if you'd like to take it a step further, then please share this video with any friend you think may be interested. I hope you all enjoyed listening to me waste your time.